All right, so basically all I'm doing is taking this manual switch and replacing it with a relay. Look, my electrical tape sure didn't stick very well, did it? This has been in here a few years, so this will make it easy. I'll just replace this manual switch. I won't have to lift the hood and turn the key to turn on the inverter. Now I'll just be able to install a relay here, connect it to my AUXBEAM switch panel that's on the inside, where I can just hit a button and that'll automatically power my inverter, which will be sweet. Then we can just turn it on, and then when I shut the vehicle off, the AUXBEAM automatically turns off. It'll de-energize this relay so that there's no chance of that inverter being a parasitic drain. And that's what I'm worried about. I don't know if they are or aren't, but I made some batteries pretty weak one time when I first installed an inverter, and that's why I put the switch in here, because I was like, I don't know if it was the inverter little light that was staying on, if it was always sucking some power even though nothing was plugged into it. That always worried me. So let's get this thing out and get a relay in. We don't have a lot of time before that next squall comes. All right, so we're gonna do a couple things to start with here on this RAM. This cable's way too long, and I'm not sure why I didn't cut it short before, because it's just, there's so much cable laying down there. I'm gonna cut it short. I probably just didn't want to put another lug on myself. I was just using the factory lug, but we're gonna cut it short, put a new lug on, and we're gonna use some of this cable to make another pigtail. But the other thing we're gonna do is go ahead and mount the relay right here. Now this little plastic tab on this relay isn't super strong, so we'll have to keep our eye on it. American made, 7/16 drive on both sides. So I think I'm just gonna have the relay point forward like this so I can get to it pretty easily. And let me tell you, I've been wiring all my life, and from my first motorcycle when I was like 17 years old. So, you know, these wire cutters, these are copper wire cutters. These are not cable cutters, you know, for steel cable. They'll last a long time, but these are the Klein brand. They weren't that much more than the Chinese brand, and I really, really like them. I just bought them a couple weeks ago. I've used them on a couple projects already, and I'm like, why didn't I buy these a long time ago? Holy cow. I'm gonna put the link down below. If you guys don't have a pair, you know, just think, it's something to think about. No pressure to buy them, of course, but this is 2-gauge cable here, and I used to like cut it, you know, with bolt cutters, and when you can just do this, holy cow, nice clean cut. It's round. You don't have to jack with the ends. It's perfect. Love it. So my relay, or my fuse, this is a 200 amp fuse. All right, maybe we'll just put a little bend on it like this. Now as far as our cable length goes, we'll put a lug here, and I think we'll just come right down there and put a lug right there. Okay, kind of bent it up here again as well. Should be able to put that there and bolt those together. And then we have our connection. Now the other great thing about these is you can use them as a stripper as well. Just kind of grab the sheathing, twist around. This is pretty heavy duty stuff, so I should be able to get away with squeezing it pretty hard. That was the easiest in the world. Okay, found some bigger heat shrink. Hopefully this will do the job. Now this is a 2-gauge lug. You can even see the number 2 on there. Now when using this hydraulic crimper, it's important that you crimp it the direction that you want the crimp to spread. And so let me show you what I mean. If I crimp it like this, you know, with the jaw here and the jaw here, it's going to crimp it like this, and this is going to squish out that direction and that direction. So if you're trying to lay it against something flat like this right here, you want to make sure that your jaws come in from the side or from the top and the bottom, because that's actually going to crimp. When it crimps it, it's going to squish it out to the side. So let me show you what I mean. So I want to bring the jaws in right here like this. Okay, now I take a second to make sure I'm pushing up with, I'm grab the wire right here, pull it up, and I'm pushing down with my thumb here. So I'm sort of squeezing the wire up inside the lug here. Also, I'm checking underneath to make sure I have a little bit of lug sticking out the back side of the jaws. And be a little bit hard to show you, but okay, now it feels pretty secure in there. I'm going to 2-hand the crimping tool here. All right. Go ahead and break it loose here. Now this is the Harbor Freight crimping tool. You can even see it says 2-gauge. So this is the right size crimp hole, or the right size crimp that it's going to end up with. for our job. Pretty sweet. And you know, you can buy the pounding ones, and those are pretty sweet, and then they're cheaper. But where am I going to pound a cable that's already installed right here? You know what I mean? So it's nice to have both, actually. Now, see what I was talking about when I crimped a jaw here and a jaw here, how it squished it out the side here and here. Now, is that going to move? That is super, super solid. That feels really good. I'm going to get the blowtorch. Okay, we got a pretty good lug there. Okay, we got that all wire loomed. That's good. We're going to wire loom this real quick. Okay, redneck, yes. But that's how I roll. So let's try to wrap this wire around so we can put it on like here. Okay, that was the hard part. The easy part's going to be running the two wires from here all along underneath there right over to the AUXBEAM switch controller. So, you know, you put in a little bit of work ahead of time to put in one of these switch controllers, but dude, once they're in, it makes wiring up something so easy. And I always think, oh, I'm done with my wiring. You know, I've only used 1, 2, 3 of these positions. So I actually have 5 positions left because this is an 8 gang. So only 3 of my switches in my AUXBEAM are being used. So I can just bring this over, hook this up. It's not going to take much. I'll probably hook it up to this 5 amp right here and just run this wire from here down through here over there, hook it up to that, and bam, I'll be able to already have the switch inside. I don't have a whole bunch of switches. I just have the switch panel inside. I'll show you that in a minute if you haven't seen it, and it is super sweet. One of my buddies turned this on to me. I didn't even know this existed. I used to just run my own red and black wires and then wrap them up in wire loom. This has a real thick sheath around it. You can buy it like this. This is actually 16 gauge. You can see the red and the black there. And these were red and black. You can kind of see there, but I've electrical taped over them because I forgot to put my heat shrink on when I soldered them on and crimped them on. So anyway, that's done. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and stretch this out from the relay all the way over to the AUXBEAM. We'll zip tie it in place, and then we'll connect this other into the AUXBEAM. Let's go get it done. All right, so here's our wire. This will plug right in here into the solenoid. We'll zip tie this along the back of the wall here and get it over to the AUXBEAM switch control on the other side. Okay, got these on as tight as I can. I've got some boots coming that I'm going to put that cover up the cable here, and then there are rubber boots that go over the connections here. And so those are on the way, and we'll get those on when they come in. That'll help protect this better. All right, now the fun part. Just run our wire over. It'll need to come down back behind there and then up through right there. So we'll kind of mock it up a little bit here. Give ourselves a little extra. Look at that. Yeah. So we'll use the second position here. We're just going to back these screws off a little bit since they come tightened down. Now hopefully the light's not too bad, but I'm going to drop this one right here underneath that negative. So you can watch the little post come down. If I can find the slot. There we go. So that little post that's coming down, that little bar, we're going to put the wire right on top of that and then tighten it down. And I like to watch and make sure the post catches it. Don't try to just stick in there and blindly crimp it down because we want to make sure that there's no sheath caught under the post, right? Because then it doesn't make good connection. All right, so we'll do this with this one now. Get this one tightened down. Give it the tug test here. Yep, nice and tight. All right, let's go in and try it out. So these are the two 5 amps right here, and we put it on the second position here. So when I hit the switch, we should see that turn on down there. So I'm just going to press this button here right about now, and maybe I have to hit the button there. Okay, system normal. Okay, that's good. Okay, so we got this 9 amp angle grinder here, and yes, I have my safety glasses on. So 9 amps is about a little over 1,000 watts, right? 120 volts. times 9 amps is about 1,000 watts. So let's plug this in here and see if we can get this thing to work. Oh yeah, that'll do the business. All right. Okay, green light's still lit. Ran 1,000 watts just fine. This will run my 1/2-inch electric impact that I carry in the truck, and I carry a long extension cord so I can make it back to my trailer, and so I can buzz lug nuts off with that. And here you can see I actually had to use it. Oh man, it made the job go so much faster. Of course, a lot of people carry an electric one with the batteries, but this just lives in here. That inverter lives in here. This is all in here all the time. I don't have to worry about getting a battery or batteries going bad or whatever. And so this is nice. I can plug anything, pretty much anything into it, because this is a pure sine wave inverter now. It'll run my wife's electric blanket and her heating pad and her hair dryer and whatever else, and it'll run on my 120 volt tools. So this is pretty sweet. Now I'm going to hit the button and turn it off, and let's see what happens here. Oh, it died a slow death, but it's off. Okay, I'm going to go inside and hit the switch and listen for the electromagnet to activate. Okay, simple as that. The switch panel on the inside of the vehicle, we just hit the button. That activates this switch over here, allows current to flow through this wire. And when it runs through this wire right here, it activates the electromagnet in the relay and couples this to this right here. So it connects that to that and allows power to come through.
There might be a better way to protect these bare studs, but I just bought these little rubber insulators on Amazon, and we'll cut them to shape so they fit down the 2-gauge wire and just pop them on and then tape them on.
Okay, it's a lot cleaner now. These boots seem to fit really well. It's nice that they were trimmable, and then you could fit different size wire, and they're not too big here. I was worried they'd be a little too big for this, but they seem to fit well. All right, we'll get the lid back on here. We are done with that project.
Okay guys, that wraps this up. If you found value in this video, please give it a like. And if you're interested in learning a bit more about how a relay works, and also the difference between a relay and a solenoid, I'll explain that in the next video. So be sure to click the link at the end of this video. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.